Hello and welcome to a video where I'm going to show you my baby. It's the 1294 rear wheel horsepower Supra that I also call Homebuilt Supra. That's because I built a lot of this at home in my garage. It's not a lot of bolt-on parts in this car. Intake manifold, cam gears, exhaust manifold, everything is built by myself. The car is converted from right-hand drive to left-hand drive, so a lot of work put into this car and this baby. And it's actually not my car anymore. I sold it a couple of years ago, but I have it here in my hands now for a couple of days. So yeah, I can show you a video of it. I bought this car 2005, 2006 there in the winter time. I bought it on auction in Japan. And you don't see a lot of information when you buy it from Japan, but usually they're in good condition. It has some scratches and things on the body, but the engine was okay, and that's the most important thing, with the 2J engine and the 6-speed V160 gearbox there. That is very strong and good for drag racing. And drag racing is something I did with this time to time. Best time 882. And it's a manual car, so I think that is pretty good. I think maybe that is still the fastest 6-speed Supra in Europe. I think there's a couple of fast ones in US, and this is a real street car. Let's start with the engine that produces 1294 rear wheel horsepower, and it has a Garrett GT47 88 turbo here with a carbon fiber inlet there. The air filter is down here. Maybe not possible to see. Non-ball bearing turbo, and it has been there for many years now and makes good power, reliable turbo there. The engine is a 3-liter engine, non-filled block, original engine block there. Billet main caps, of course. I did break them, the first ones I had in, the stock ones. So it's a stock crankshaft, Carrillo rods, CP pistons in there. Flue damper, crank damper. I really like this one, much better than the ATI that I had problems with. Or it's the original modified oil pump, some special in the oil pan there. Cylinder head, it's ported by JB engine, Jonas Bank in Sweden. It has 1mm oversized valves, intake and exhaust, titanium retainers and harder valve springs there. The camshaft are 280-degree camshafts. Don't remember the lift now, but yeah, it's over 10 in lift, if I remember correctly. And the cam gears here, they are not CNC machined. They're handmade. I machined them in a lathe, and a friend helped me with the milling of them. Exhaust manifold here in mild steel. I did a 2D drawing of the flange here, sent it for laser cutting there, because it was not possible to buy flanges at that time. Got that one. Well, the pipes there with some long radiuses there as well, but it has been working for more than 12 years now and never cracked, so that's very good. Wastegate here, it is an HKS 60mm first version wastegate. It's been working without any problem at all time. This one I bought on eBay from Lingenfelter in US. They had it for some project, but it was almost brand new when I bought it. Also here is the catch can for the crankcase ventilation. It has two connections in the heads and one on the bottom that goes directly to the crankcase. And if I should have been owner of this car today, when I have a little bit more knowledge, that would maybe be one thing that I would rebuild a little bit. Oil catch can. Also the wiring, I have learned a lot more. So the wiring I could have been make a lot nicer here, but it's still working very good. It's been working for many years, so that's good. And one thing I'm proud of, it's the intake manifold here. The plenum, everything I built by myself. It's it was made by just straight plain aluminum sheets that I formed into these, welded together many pieces, and a lot of grinding, polishing before it went like this. It is velocity stacks inside of it, so it flows really good. Should polish it a little bit more, but yeah, it's pretty okay. I think it's a 90mm throttle body there. So a lot of TIG welding I have learned when building this car. One thing you maybe have seen here now is that I have two fuel rails on this car, one smaller one and one bigger one. Also two fuel pressure regulators, one here with a pressure gauge and one well done there with a pressure sensor. That's because this car have a very special fuel system. This little rail here, it's gasoline in that one, and all cold starting, low loads, normal driving, it is always on gasoline. Whatever cheapest gasoline you can ever find on the gas station, you can put in there. The other fuel rail here, I now have E85 in that one. I have had that all the time, but plan was maybe to have methanol or race fuel or something like that. But it made plenty good power on E85, so that's what I have for now there. And up to boost, about 0.2 bar of boost, it's all on normal gasoline. Then it blends in ethanol, and at 1.2 bar of boost, that's maybe 16 psi, 18 psi of boost, it's only the secondary fuel rail with this big Siemens 2400 cc injectors. That is very good. It's only that fuel that gets injected into the engine. So that's a good thing. You can always have good cold starts in the winter when many other E85 cars have problems. And one reason I did this was because it was not so common with the big injectors and engine management that can handle those very good on idle at that time. And one other thing was that I was traveling with this car to Norway, to Denmark, and there they did not have E85, so I had to put a lot of spare E85 inside the car. So with this I could go to every gas station around and put in here the cheapest gasoline I had, and the other one, E85, it's behind here and here. It looks a little bit dirty here, should clean it up, but inside here you can have E85, and as long as you don't hit high boost, it will not take any E85. And I think this tank is pretty big also, so you can easily make it a weekend with that one. And yeah, the Supra have a nice ass, really like this one. So what more, it has the stock wing. I really like the stock wing. Did not have it when I bought it, but put it on there. The rims, I really love the rims here. It's work wheels, Workmeister S1 triple piece 18-inch. The brakes is the stock Japan brakes in the rear. That's because I should put so I can put the drag racing wheels on it. I had 15-inch rear wheels on and 17-inch front runners there. It's the Euro spec front brakes on the car here. Workmeisters there as well. The body kit is, as I bought the car, I'm not so much into body kits, but it's Bomex side skirts there, and the front bumper is border, I believe. The car has a nice paint. It's painted by my good friend Victor Mortensson, VMR Customs. It could need a polish, I think, because it has been stored and driving from time to time last couple of years, but not much driving since I sold it actually. 98 taillights, 98 front lamps. It's a 93-year model, this car, from Japan. And when I bought this car, it was right-hand drive, so I did a rebuild. I bought a wrecked left-hand drive car and took almost all of the parts from it. So here we have a Sparco steering wheel. We have some Sparco seats here as well. It's actually one of the cheapest ones, but they're really good. They're pretty soft if you're doing long drives. They're much nicer than the carbon or Kevlar ones, I think. Also some racing seats here, and the stock seat here as well. And you can hear it has a roll cage here. This roll cage I built myself. It was not possible to buy anything that was made for the Supra at that time, so actually I bought a bender machine so I can make these nice radius bends. Bended some pipes and did some welding here, so you could sit a bit more safe and drive on the drag strip. It's not actually completely legal for drag racing. This side brace here, it should be a little bit higher up, but I want primarily this car for a street car, so it should be easy to get in and get out. Here we have the racing gloves as well, must if you want to have a good condition of this Sparco steering wheel. No sweaty hands on that one. Here we have a switch for gasoline or E85, and that is actually the gauge there. It is only one gauge for the 2 fuel tanks, but you switch around there. It has, of course, all the power windows. It has, yeah, the air condition is working, of course, in this 1400 horsepower Supra. Has some switches, line lock, so you can lock the front brakes if you're doing burnout on the drag strip or something. High-low boost, logging, stuff like that. Boost gauge over there. So yeah, really nice cockpit. I really love the cockpit of the Supra. It's a little bit inspired by a fighter jet or something. Everything is pointed towards the driver. And of course we have the nice 6-speed stick there. I did try to make the roll cage as slim as possible, so it will not interfere that much. It will interfere a little bit in the behind here. Here is also, it's removed now, it's the handle for the parachute. It's possible to install a parachute back there. The seat is possible to move forward, and there is actually a little back seat here in this one. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, it's actually possible to sit here in the back seat of the car, and if you have like a small girl or something sitting in front. And I've been doing that a couple of times, maybe with a beer in the hand and sitting here, and in speeds excess of 300. Not maybe the smartest, but it was fun. The car has the TRD differential in the back. So propeller shaft from Sweden in the middle there, stronger one, and the gearbox. It's a Toyota stock 6-speed clutch, triple tilt-on clutch inside there. I actually had nitrous here on, but it was never used. I tried to use it one time, but the solenoid was broken, so it was never used. And the fastest time on the drag strip, it was made not with the 100% power. It was a little bit down on power there. And the right hand to left hand drive conversion, it's actually more complicated than most people think. Of course, it's the steering rack and the steering that needs to be replaced, but it's also the wiring in all of the car, the brake systems, the piping here that is for the air condition. These I have to buy new from Toyota, very expensive ones. The wiring harness to the engine is different. Now I have a custom harness here anyway, but the wiring harness in the front of the car, in the rear of the car, basically the wiring of the whole car. These, when you pull for the gas tank, it's cables for those are different. The dash, of course, is different. Handbrake is different. Of course, the whole firewall of the car is different. So that one I took out and did the welding, and it's actually much nicer now than it was from the factory. This brakes and the clutch is of course different. The pedals is different, left hand and right hand drive ones. Windshield wipers, they are different. The whole bay that the windshield wipers are in, it's different, so sheet metal work there as well that you have to replace. Rear window wiper here as well, that one is on the other side as well. This one I removed it all the way because I think it's much cleaner without it. So yeah, it's probably a couple of more things that I can't remember now. It's not that easy to make a conversion if it should be still a street car or something like that. Of course, the HVAC is different, everything inside with the heater and the ventilation in the cabin there. Also a lot of work put into polishing everything here, and it needs a lot of work to keep that polished. Here we have the water pump. It's electrical one in stock location. Oil filter relocation I have here. This one is from a Chevy from the beginning, so I made this one a little bit thinner, and also I remade it from single pass to dual pass, so it will pass 2 times, and both connections is on this side here. intercooler here, it's a Blitz intercooler, and it's an Setrab Swedish oil cooler on top of that one. One thing I also put a lot of hours in is to make everything as clean and smooth as possible in the engine bay. The wiring to the front, it goes inside of the engine bay here, and I removed a lot of parts. Some of the good stuff you need to have is here in the back, but here in the front I tried to remove as much as I could. If you know how a stock Supra engine bay, it's a lot of brackets and stuff like that here, and yeah, I removed them. All the spot welds I filled with weld and then grinded, so it's not any like plastic filler or something like that. Here's also the coilovers. They are K-Sport drag coilovers on this car, but they are orange, which did not fit in that good, so I put them in the lathe and polished them. So many hours I have been sitting here inside the engine bay and grinding and making everything as nice as possible. And the reason now why I have the car here is because of I'm doing a little bit of service and inspection of the car, so making sure everything is okay. But yeah, now I'm hungry, need to go to the garage, so maybe I go by the drive-through and then to the garage. And by the way, the ECU in this car is Vipec V88. I bought more than 10 years ago, I think, and it has been working very good since then. It's manufactured by Link ECU that I use in many other cars, and this car it's Link ECU as well, so it's very high quality products. And it is of course tuned by myself always. Done a lot of tuning during the years and street tuning, and the laptop is usually always with me. And here is the parachute that I must have when I drive this on a drag strip, because this one makes about 270 kilometers in top speed at the quarter mile. To install this one, it's very simple. By the way, this one is in chromoly. It's actually used for wishbones in Formula 1. Not for Formula 1 cars in some years ago. Nowadays it's carbon fiber, but older ones, they used these materials for the wishbones in the suspension of the car. It's easy to install. Just fold the number plate, put it in, and you put a bolt inside here. Also put the cable up here, so that's easy to install. Also here in the back we have the interior, batteries on the side here, and the roll cage. It's not taking up all the room here. It's possible to load a couple of tires and the tools and everything back here, so that's good when you go to events. Another thing is the fasteners. I really like to have a nice fasteners here. Here you have some K-nuts. It is nice bolts. These are titanium. Many of these hex bolts here, they are titanium actually, so they're as light as possible and nice, but a little bit different. You know, all the race cars and airplanes, they have titanium stuff, so I like all the small details. Actually, this carbon fiber, it has some pearl effect in it as well. That does not make the car faster, but makes it nice. Also put the brand new Toyota timing belt on here. Always been using the stock ones for that. Same with the ignition coils, the stock one. It's under the intake here. It's an MW ignition CDI box, but the stock coils are just fine. Also the head gasket is the stock one. It's amazing, these cars, that they hold up so much. The gearbox is stock. The rear is it's a TRD differential, so, and stock drive shafts. The drive shafts will they eventually die after some time of drag racing, after some couple of passes, but yeah, still it's very good, these cars, how much power they hold up. Just serviced the injectors here. It's 2400cc Siemens injectors, new filters, O-rings, and the flow got a little bit higher after cleaning here. So the small primary Siemens injectors are installed there, and the fuel rail for that one is under the bracket fitting there, and that one has threads and the bracket there, so all the two fuel rails is held by two bolts here, so it's pretty simple setup there and easy to reach the bolts from the upside there. I have to show you under here the gearbox. I have one good thing here. It's a solenoid with an adjustable hydraulic valve there, and that thing maybe make a consistent and good start for the drag racing. I could adjust how much it should slip, and the solenoid there that makes only in first gear, so no slip in the other gears. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see if we find a new owner of this car.